So there's this series of renown from Japan called the Guinea Pig series, and there's 5 films, I believe, or there may be 6. Don't quote me on that. But it gained a lot of notoriety in film circles that are inclined to see more extreme shit. In short, they're super graphic, gory,
Gruesome.
gruesome fests.
Yeah.
Gore fest, man. So if you're a gore hound, the Guinea Pig series from Japan is probably something that you've visited or are planning to visit, and rightfully so. They've earned their place in history, whether you like it or not, whether that's your thing or not. They've earned their place because they live up to the reputation, shall we say? So much so that one of them, which, if memory serves me right, was Flower of Flesh and Blood, was reported to the authorities by, again, don't quote me on this, but I think it was Sean Penn who like totally pussied out and was like, "This is real, guys. You should
Sean.
go. You should go arrest these people." And the authorities immediately were like, "Homie." But anyway, it just goes to show you how impactful and weird they can be. So they've earned their rep. I'm not gonna recommend them because they're not for everyone. They're mostly for people that are looking for something extremely strange or that are gorehounds, basically. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to satisfy many other people. In fact, they'll disgust most people. Now, I'm not a big fan of gore-centric films. We do enjoy gore in movies when it's part of the plot, mostly, when it's fun to look at, and usually when it's not in this depressive or horrendously exploitative fashion. But there is something to admire about the effects and all that stuff of that series. Whatever. I'm not recommending it, but if you are a gorehound, then I guess I am. The Japanese Guinea Pig series. That being
I
said,
see that you specifically said the Japanese.
oh yeah, because Unearthed Films has recently been funding the American Guinea Pig series, and the whole objective being to give America its own line of extreme, cinema, if you will. Now, I can't judge every single entry in this series because I haven't seen every single entry in this series, but titles like Bucket of Blood and Guts will give you an idea of what the fuck to expect. You're not going in for high art here. You know what I'm saying? Now, Unearthed Films deserve some credit because though they exclusively release extreme and controversial films, it's not necessarily across the board quality. Let's just say that. But they do deserve some credit because they keep that particular side of cult cinema alive and give it some form of respect, if you will, however deserving or undeserving it might be. So I'm not pissing on Unearthed Films for doing what they do. Cool,
I'm also not pissing on unearned films.
What?
That's what you said.
Okay, I didn't even hear that. But anyway, I was like, what is he talking about? Ernest P. Worrell?
Yeah, dude, this Ernest production company.
I mean, he would have made a better movie than the one I saw
Oh!
because I finally saw one of the American Guinea Pig series films that is produced by Unearthed Films, and basically these are like funded by what they make from selling the fare that they do. So already we're going into this with a lower budget than usual, although the Japanese Guinea Pig films weren't exactly high budget affairs either. But we are going in with a very restrictive budget. So when I approach a film of this nature, knowing these things, I'm not going in there being super judgmental about certain elements. I can expect certain things to be lacking because, again, there's only so much money to be shared and spread past the point of producing the damn thing, right? But none of these movies really caught my eye. I didn't really want to see any of them. I would if they came across my desk, but I don't have a desk, so why would they? But then they announced a movie called American Guinea Pig Song of Solomon, which the title alone captured my, my attention. I was like, interesting. What's this about? And it was basically a guinea pig movie, that is to say, a gore fest, that was centered around the rigors and extremities of an exorcism. The effects, if you will, that it would have on a human. And I thought that was an interesting concept, man. Conceptually, it is an interesting concept. You know, there's only one movie that I can think of at the moment. I'm sure I could think of others if you give me the time, that explored that to some degree, and that was the first Evil Dead movie, where we see the bodies of the possessed being, you know, mangled basically and manipulated. And that's a very disturbing thought, you know. Not being able to have control of what is happening to your body while being possessed is a disturbing thought. So I thought that was a good concept. So I said, if this movie ever comes across my proverbial desk, I'm going to see it. And it just so happens that it did. So I went with an open mind, as always, to see this movie. And again, I stress, I'm not the type of guy that gets disgusted. I'm not the type of guy that'll, you know, turn my nose up at this type of movie. I'll watch it. If it's good in its place, it's good. If it transcends its place, then even better. But if it's shit, I'm gonna call it shit. And I got news for you. Song of Solomon is a big stinky dookie. It's fucking garbage. Period. Now, how is it garbage? I know these movies have a rabid fan base, and if they ever come across this, they're definitely gonna hate me for saying it. But the movie sucks balls, and there's a variety of reasons it does. One, the writing is atrocious, just like what you would expect somebody that frequents Hot Topic to think is cool and extreme or whatever. Just cringe level writing, man. Just horrid. The dialogue is ludicrous, you know, especially that of the possessed party. I forget her name, but whatever. The chick playing the possessed chick. She's... I can't blame her entirely. Her acting's shit, so there's that part. But the writing, you know, it didn't help her, man. You know, it's exactly what you would think an edgelord kid in high school would write for a possessed person to say, that's supposed to be ominous and freaky and you know, indicative of taunting of somebody holy. It's just cringe, man. Cringe.
Corny.
Super corny. So I hated that. Then we have these priests that go in, and there's a variety of them. There's not one or two that go in to take care of the exorcism, and holy cow, man, these guys gotta be some of the worst actors conjured up anywhere. I realize, again, you have limitations with a budget that small, but we've seen small budget movies that have decent actors, and let me tell you, I didn't encounter one in this fucking movie. The last priest that goes in to take care of the possessed is the closest you're going to get to a decent actor in this movie entirely, not just priest-wise. Just, he's the closest, period, you know? There's no other that comes close, and he's not exactly great either. So, you know, that's what you got. Acting sucks, story sucks, dialogue sucks. So let's talk about this story. Basically, it's you know, you're running a marathon of exorcisms here. You know, we have a cardinal or bishop. Let's say a bishop for the sake of this video. I forgot what his position actually is, of a local diocese that is contacted by the possessed psychiatrist and mother after they can't do anything for her. And this bishop then begins the process of exorcism by contacting a series of priests to go in and, you know, perform the exorcism rites on the girl. And the girl, or the demon, I should say, the entity in the girl, makes quick work of each of them in what is supposed to be a variety of gruesome ways. let me just say this: the whole point of these movies, the American Guinea Pig movies, is basically let's get some gore up on the screen. If that's what you're looking for, it's not gore, it's bore, as in ing, because shit, lamest gore ever, man. The effects on this thing are straight sphincter toots, you know, coming right off of the curb of a fucking turd. You know what I'm saying? They're just god awful, man. The biggest set piece as far as effects, gore effects go here is one part where the possessed literally vomits her guts out. You know, a bouquet of blood and guts, if you will. She vomits her guts in this order: the small intestine, then the large intestine, then the stomach. And you're like, how did you start at the asshole? How does that happen? But anyway, I guess if you're going to say they inverted, I guess maybe, except when they come out, they're not inverted. And they're clearly just plastic. And they're fake looking, you know? When Lucio Fulci movie from the fucking 80s can make it look real, and granted that was because they were real sheep guts, but this movie can't, and that's kind of the whole point of these stupid movies, then shame on you. It sucked, man. What does it take to go get some sheep guts and clean them bad boys out?
But then suckle on them.
Yeah, make some fucking menudo afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, if you're concerned about wasting guts, and, you know, stuff them in somebody's mouth, have them spit out, because that's all they were doing. They were just stuffing fake guts in this chick's mouth, and she was spitting them out, and they would cut to the priest reacting for 7 years, and then cut back to her as she continues to spit out her guts. It's just clearly, you know, re-upped on the guts. It's just stupidest effect. And just when it's reached its peak of stupidity, she then says something taunting to the priest and then proceeds to reconsume her own intestines. And at this point, I'm like, this is the pits, man. This is the pits. It's just tragically god awful. And that's the only scene in this entire movie that you could legitimately call gory, quote unquote. All the other scenes are just lame duck shit, man. Some guy's face boils up, big whoop-de-doo. Some priest kills another priest. Yeah, who cares? You know, it's just nothing. Gore. Again, not that I'm like, hell yeah, gore, but that's the point of these movies. You know, that's part of the point, I should say. The other point they were trying to make is with this plot, which sucks donkeys. Now, I'm going to tell you that there's a concept in the plot that's very interesting, and that's the final reveal in the movie. And basically we find out, and by we find out, I mean you found out the moment the movie started, because it's that transparent. But in forms of the movie, in the structure of the movie, you're supposed to find out at the end that all these exorcisms and what happens in them are all just the machinations of the bishop guy, the church, if you will, to quicken the process of the second coming of Christ by literally assisting in the birth of the Antichrist. So basically the church is enabling the birth of the Antichrist just to get Christ to come back quicker. You know, that's a pretty good concept for a horror movie, but it's a shitty concept as it is written in this movie. One, because the people carrying it out can't act for shit. Two, the writing is so god awful that you see it coming a mile away. And three, nothing interesting gets you there. You know what I'm saying? Nothing interesting. In fact, all you can think of is, I saw that part in another movie and it was way better. I saw that part in that movie and it was way better in that one, you know? So the movie across the board just falls on its friggin' face. And there's like this almost like self-satisfied, smug feeling to the movie. Like, hell yeah, I made something cool and awesome. And maybe it's just me reading it, or I should say maybe it's just me and my predisposition to hate this kind of like edgelord approach to evil. I think it's pretty pathetic. You know,
Edgelord Approach to Evil is our new band, by the way.
Oh yeah, a big hit nowhere. But
damn, homie.
I mean, who's buying our single, right? Our single being Farts. the edgiest of tracks. But anyway, yeah, dude, it's just like this careless, idiotic, yeah, evil's awesome type of fucking approach. You know, you could just tell you would know the type of person writing it. And I hate that type of person. You know, like, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Shut the fuck up. You don't even know what the hell you're talking about. I hate it. And you can feel that smacking all over this fucking script, all over every line. Just a presumptuous, stuck up, little smug jerk at his fucking typewriter typing this shit, saying this is the coolest shit ever. It just sucks.
What century you live in?
Oh, he thinks he's badass. Probably dresses like a vampire or some shit. But anyway, the point is the writer-director of this movie does himself no favors because he wrote this turd. 1, 2, he thought he could direct something well. I'm not saying I can direct. I'm just saying I can spot shitty directing. And if you're defending this direction, then you suck balls and or have no eyes. It's terrible, man. He has no vision. He clearly didn't have the talent to give him the results that he was demanding. He didn't achieve it himself, so that goes to show you his talent. If you get the right team behind you, a shitty director can make at least a passable movie. You know what I'm saying? This guy didn't even get the right team behind him. It sucks. Hard. And, yeah, so it's an all-around failure, man. This is a pathetic movie. This is the definition of a pathetic turd of a movie. And again, I stress, if you looked at my collection back in the day, not currently because of circumstances that, you know, have been explained in other videos, but back in the day, I had a very large extreme films section in my collection. I'm not adverse to this type of movie, but I am adverse to this particular movie. Fucking licks. I give it 0
Damn, homie.
out of 10. It fails on every single level. Pathetic. That's the bottom
I
line.
feel like this is the most hateful you've been towards
It's
the movie.
fucking garbage, dude. It's literally garbage.
So now, because this has become the standard for the worst movie ever.
It's not the worst movie ever.
No. Let me finish.
Okay.
Because it's become the standard for the worst movie ever. I gotta ask:
Uh-huh.
is it worse than Jay and Silent Bob reboot?
I would rather watch none of those, Jay and Silent Bob reboot or this. But if I had to rewatch one of them, I would probably rewatch Song of Solomon. Because if I were to rewatch it, I would rewatch it with someone.
True.
So that we can make fun of how awful it is. And or they could share my misery. I don't even think it's make fun worthy. It's just a crap movie, man. It's not even detestable. You know, there's some movies that are just detestable. But there's something to admire about that in a weird way. This is not even detestable. It's just trash. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying Jay and Silent Bob reboot is detestable. I'm saying it's a waste of time and money. Jay and Silent Bob reboot is. But Jay and Silent Bob reboot is also horribly unfunny, which is its goal, to be funny. And it sucks. So, yeah, I would rather watch Song of Solomon again, but not for the reasons you might think.
Yeah.
So, I don't recommend this. If you're a gore hound, don't trust me. I mean, you could go watch it. I mean, I know you are. You know, that's what gore hounds do. They go and watch films with a reputation, but you're fooling yourself if you think that this is a good movie. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's no amount of lying to yourself you could do. Cover up. Horrible. Turd level.
But what is the consensus on this movie?
I honestly don't know, man. Not a lot of people like to review stuff like this, and you know, as suggested right there, gorehounds are very protective of the very few movies that they do get that are extreme in nature. But I don't see anybody defending this shit. I mean, they might, but it doesn't even satisfy the gorehound quality. You know, it's a good concept, a kernel of a good concept.
Yeah, good micro idea.
Yeah, a good kernel of a concept that is never ever properly explored. It's just a failure across the board. I don't ever want to see a movie from this guy again. I hope it never happens. unless he improves, which I don't see happening, given the quality of this fucking turd, which is zero. I hate it, man. I hate it. At least that's something I can say about Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I don't hate it. I just think it's a complete waste of time, money, space, film, talent, etc. Even lack thereof talent, you know. I think it's just a waste. It's a void of anything. This movie I hate. Period. Anyway, if you have seen this movie, let us know what you think. And if you haven't, don't. You know? Anyway, that's it. I'm done with this turd.
You mean this channel, dude?
Yeah.